Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I am Dial, and I am here with the final movie review of 2023. And we're ending things off on a high note. Today, we are talking about the 2023 remake of The Color Purple, produced by Steven Spielberg and Oprah Winfrey. Let's get into it. So, before I talk about the movie, I guess I should talk about my thoughts on the original film that was in the 80s, that's coincidentally directed by Steven Spielberg. Um, I like that movie. I thought it was pretty good. I did not love it. I had some issues with it here and there, and I know for a lot of people they love that original Color Purple movie. I just personally couldn't get there. I felt like there was quite a few moments that were a bit too dark and unpleasant to watch. But not to say that there isn't any good moments in the original movie. There are some awesome moments in the original film, and there's some really good performances in there. And I respect them, addressing some of the themes in that film. Like I feel like there's some subject matter in this that that needs to be addressed because there's some issues that we still deal with today that this movie addresses. But I don't know, just I don't know. It's just for me, I feel like there was a major tonal issue with the original film. Like there will be some really really dark moments in the original movie, and then there will be some still Spielberg would put in like some of his lighthearted, silly moments in it as well. And I felt like the tones didn't really mix that good. And this is probably going to be a big hot take for people. When it comes to Whoopi Goldberg as Celie in the original movie, I thought she was fine. Yeah. I'm sorry. Like I know. A lot of people love Whoopi Goldberg in that original movie, and yeah, she's not bad. She is not bad, but for me, I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't as great as I heard that she was great. Like everyone's praising her, and I just couldn't get there. She did a solid job, but for me, she was just a bit too quiet and a bit too awkward for me in that original film. I love Whoopi Goldberg though. I think she's great, but that one I just wasn't blown away by her performance. So when it comes to this remake of The Color Purple, I was actually looking forward to seeing this because this version was going to be more based on the Broadway show, which I have never seen, which is surprising because I am a theater kid. I grew up with a lot of musicals, and now I was in choir and stuff like that, and so my friends would talk about it. But somehow, some way, I was not able to see this on Broadway. Um, Also, Wicked as well. That's another Broadway show that I never got to see that a lot of my friends talk about. So I'm going to try my best to see both of them if they're still going on. But I was excited to see the Broadway version, because like I love me some good musicals, so I'm interested to see how they were going to tackle this. Um, but for some reason, whenever I hear people talking about this remake, a lot of them weren't that enthusiastic about it. Like especially when they heard that this was going to be based on the Broadway show and it's going to be a musical. The Most of the responses I've heard from it was, "Oh, really? This is going to be based on the musical? It's going to be a musical?" And I was like, I mean, yeah, like you guys realize this was based off the Broadway show, right? I know that Color Purple was actually based on the book, which the original movie was really based off of, but I don't know why people were tripping about this being a musical because like there is a Broadway version, so I don't know. I was still excited to see it, and seeing all the talent that they're getting for this movie, I like this is a lot of great singers and actors were going to be in this. They're going to have Fantasia, Halle Bailey, Taraji P Henson, Corey Hawkins, her. So this was a really really good cast that they have here. Daniel Brooks as well. So I was excited to see this. I don't know why people weren't. It looked like it was going to be very very good, and based off of the trailers, it looked pretty fun. Like it was selling that this was going to be the big reimagining that you've never seen before with the color purple, and that's probably a little too over dramatic. They're probably overselling that. But regardless, I was excited to see this movie. I saw this opening day, Christmas Day. I saw it opening weekend, and man, for a while I was thinking that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was my favorite film of the year. I think this movie is giving it a run for its money. I loved this film. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I figured this movie was going to be good, but I didn't expect how good this movie was. I was blown away by this movie. Um, Man, for one thing, when it comes to the music, when it comes to the choreography, me being the musical person, when it comes to the songs and the choreography, it was on point in this movie. The songs were so good. All of them were really, really good. Everyone came to play when it came to singing. Everyone sounded amazing. The choreography, dude, this choreography was so elaborate. It was so sharp. It was perfectly timed, perfectly edited, perfectly shot. It was amazing. Like I was blown away, and just seeing how many people they had in the dance choreography. Like they had armies of people doing these elaborate, sharp dance moves in perfect formation and stuff like that. It's just I'm geeking out as a theater kid. Like seeing all this stuff, it was amazing. I haven't seen this great of choreography and songs, musical numbers since the 2021 remake of West Side Story, which for some reason I have not reviewed this movie. I have not reviewed West Side Story 2021, and that was one of my favorites of that year. I'll have to rectify that situation in 2024. But anyway, regardless, like the music and the choreography, I thought was spot on. The cinematography for this movie, it looked beautiful. I love the set design. I love the costume work. It was very colorful. It was very, vibrant. I thought it was great, you know. And what really surprised me about this movie is that while, this movie does tackle dark subject matter, like we already know this. If you've seen The Color Purple, you already know what this movie tackles. But it still wasn't a dour, depressing movie, Like, as far as like the aesthetics and just like how they're able to balance the heavy stuff and the more optimistic moments as well. I felt like this movie balanced that a lot better than the original movie. Like there, when the movie was had to be heavy and dark, it was able to do that, but it wasn't too much. But then when there's moments where it wanted to give you some hope and optimism, it was able to do that too. And I thought all of that was done really, really well. Now, as far as the performances, I thought the performances all around were great. Let me say this off the bat. Fantasia as Celie. Man, if she does not get nominated for an Oscar next year, they're messing up. They really are. I thought Fantasia was fantastic as Celie in this movie. Once again, I don't want to throw any shade to Whoopi Goldberg from the original movie, but Fantasia as Celie, I thought, I just seen more range from her with this version. Like she felt more like a person. Did she still have her shy and awkward moments here and there? Yes, because that is still part of the character. But at the same time, I was still invested in her because she still had, she had some personality. She had some moments where, while she was afraid to stand up for herself and she didn't have a lot of confidence in herself, I like in this movie they were able to flesh out more of her journey of, finding herself as a person, especially because if you know the story of The Color Purple, you know about all the abuse that the Celie character had to go through, as far as abuse from her significant other, her father, and just feeling like she's less of a person and that she's just she borderline feels like a slave, and everything taken away from her, as far as her children and her sister, her best friend. This is a person that has everything. Everything in her life was practically lost. Everything that meant so much to her, but being able to see her journey throughout the movie and her regaining her confidence, regaining her purpose in life, finding support from other people, I just love seeing how she evolves because she's a completely different person in the last moments of the movie than she was in the beginning. So you know it, I really felt for her. I couldn't emphasize enough how great Fantasia was. Like I keep forgetting. I mean, I know her as the R&B singer, and she's great in that. And as far as her musical numbers, of course it's fantastic. It's Fantasia. She brings it whenever she does. But like I just didn't know how great she was as an actress. I keep forgetting that she was on Broadway as well, and she came to play, and she definitely helped carry this movie. As far as the other actors and actresses, Halle Bailey playing the younger version of Nettie, I thought she was really good too. Um, Once again, like it really helped to buy the relationship and friendship that Celia and Nettie had when they were younger, and when they eventually are split apart for a good amount of their adulthood. It's like the whole movie you're rooting for them to get back together again, and I'm not going to spoil for those of you who don't know who who plays the older version of Nettie. I'm not going to spoil it, but just by the time we got to the final moments when they when that they're eventually going to get back together and reunite, really beautiful moment, really beautiful moment. But regards to that, Halle Bailey did come to play, and of course she was great with her singing numbers. Taraji P. Henson, that's another person I forget that she can sing. She can actually sing, and I thought she was great in this movie as Shug Avery. When it came to the original movie, I thought the Shug Avery in that they were emphasizing more of how much of a drunk she was, and like she was, like she liked to do it. She was more addicted to drugs and stuff like that, and I don't know that some of that stuff I felt was a bit unpleasant. So when she was eventually building a relationship with Celie in the original movie, I didn't feel like it was as genuine. In this movie, I think Shug Avery felt more like a a more engaging character this time around. Taraji B. Henson, I already think she's a very charismatic actress. She's very underrated, and I'm glad that she was able to showcase herself more, as an actress. Being able to, get get a more emphasis of her being a lead. And I thought she took her ball and ran with it. Her musical number at that what is it, that club that was at the swamp, that was one of my favorite musical numbers in the entire movie. I thought it was absolutely great, and I like that they put a little more emphasis on the relationship between Celie and Shug. Like there was a little bit of a hint of a romance in the original movie, but that was a bit more emphasized in this. But it wasn't in your face. And once again, they were more focused on the fact that Celie was able to she's actually finding someone that supports her. And she ends up helping her retrieve the letters that Nettie is sending to her. And I just thought, and she eventually helps her get out of the situation with Mister, which I thought all that was great. Speaking of that, Mister, played by Coleman Domingo, man, it's a character you love to hate. I thought Donald Glover wait, I'm sorry, not Donald Glover, Danny Glover. Sorry, I mix those two up all the time. But Danny Glover in the original, I thought was really, really good, and Coleman Domingo was also really, really good. I like that he wasn't trying to 100% emulate the performance that Danny Glover had in the original movie. This one had a little bit more of a little bit more charisma than Danny Glover. That he plays the banjo and stuff like that, and it's a little bit more trying to have a little bit more. Would I say swag is the word? I really don't like using that word, but as I said, this one, this version of Mister seemed a little bit more charismatic, but when he was mean, man, he was mean. Like, man, I couldn't wait for Celie to get her comeuppance on Mister in this movie. Like just building the animosity towards him. I thought that was just done beautifully well. But what I also liked is that by the time we got to the end, his character goes through a little bit more of a development. He wasn't just the one-dimensional villain in this. Like he actually goes through a character arc, and I appreciated that. Daniel Brooks as Sophia. Now I know that she had a lot to live up to when it came to Oprah Winfrey's performance as Sophia in the original movie, but I thought Daniel Brooks nailed it. Like there was a lot of moments where I felt like she was harnessing Oprah Winfrey's performance, but still making the character her own. And honestly, she's one of the funniest characters in the movie. Um, I thought she was a lot of fun to watch, but also had some of the most tragic moments, other than Celie, in the movie. I'm not going to spoil it for those of you who don't know, but I thought she was great. And once again, I like that they're also tackling, the complications and the problems with toxic relationships between Sophia and Harpo, who's Mister's son, who ends up marrying Sophia. So I like that they were addressing that type of stuff. um, Probably one person that I thought was good in this, but didn't have as much to do as the other characters was her as Squeak. Um, she was good in the scenes that she was in, but didn't have nearly as much to do with the other characters. She felt like a side character pretty much. She didn't even have that many lines to say. And as far as her singing, she had like a couple of verses here and there, but that was it. She didn't get her own full musical number, and I was a bit disappointed about that because we know that her can blow. She can sing. So it's just like it was just a shame that she wasn't really able to showcase her singing in this as much as the others. And it's a similar thing with the older version of Nettie. I wish she was able to showcase her singing a little bit more. She was good in the moment that she was in, but I just wish she had more musical numbers as much as the other main actresses in here. Oh, and also I can't ignore Corey Hawkins singing in this as well. I thought he was really good in his musical number as well. He gets one musical number, but I'm surprised that that he can sing as well. Like, man, all the great musical talent in here. I just am very impressed by this. And Dion Cole as Alfonso, who is the quote unquote adoptive father of Celie and Nettie towards the beginning. I actually thought he was pretty good too. At first, I didn't recognize him, but yeah, I thought he was really good as well. So yeah, overall, I'm not gonna lie, this feels like a movie that I needed, you know, because when it came to the second half of 2023, there was a lot of movies that disappointed me or didn't live up to expectations. And it was just nice that this was the movie that was able to cap off 2023. There were some great movies that came out this year. Um, like especially towards the beginning of the year. But there were some good movies in the later half. But I just feel like we've been swarmed by a lot of mediocre and trash movies, and it's just like it was just nice that this movie came out because it's just reminding me that there are still some really good filmmakers out there. There's still some really good storytelling, especially with everything going on in Hollywood between the writer strikes and the actor strikes, and just people being treated poorly when making the movies, and setbacks, and the studios in debt and all that stuff. So it was nice that this movie came out and it's so well made. I can't praise this movie enough. Um, now I personally think this is better than the original, but I can kind of see why people like the original more than this. Because not everybody is into the musical stuff, and I guess as far as like the subject matter in the original, some people probably like the more heavier themes, and it had a little bit more details from the book that the musical didn't have. But while it didn't have as all the details that the original movie had and the book had, I still feel like I had enough that I was invested in everyone's journey and everyone's development. So the whole time I wasn't thinking about the stuff that wasn't in the book or wasn't in the original movie. And that's one of the reasons why this is, I think, is a good example of a really good remake, Um as far as the director, I'm also blown away that by the director of this. His name is Blitz D-WIZZLE. Probably butchered his last name. I apologize, but he hasn't really came from anything huge either. Like the biggest thing that he did was the Beyonce produced Black is King short film. I think that's this is a short film. I've never watched it all the way through, but like that's the biggest thing he's done. Other things were just like really there's only like two or three maybe really minor indie stuff that he did, and I think he maybe did a couple music videos stuff like that. I'm impressed by how well he directed this movie. Just like the filmmaking, the editing, the cinematography, the direction of the performances. Like, I think Blitz is going to go far in Hollywood. I hope he gets more work after this. He should be a known name after this point. But yeah, overall, I thought this movie was great. This may end up being my favorite of the year. I love the performances in here. I was invested in the journey all the way through. Fantasia was great. Halle Bailey was great. Taraji P Henson was great. Daniel Brooks was great. Like everyone came to play in this musical slash movie. The singing was fantastic. I thought the themes were handled very very well. I thought the tone was more consistent all the way through than it was in the original movie. Um, yeah, like I said, it's a lot of fun too. While it does have its heavy moments, it's still a lot of fun. It ends up still being a really good feel good movie, even though it tackles heavy subject matter. And once again, I'm just glad this movie came out to cap out 2023, and I hope it gets nominated for a lot of awards next year. So I'm going to give The Color Purple. I'm going to give it an A. It's great. Go see it if you haven't already. Even if you're apprehensive to see it because you love the original movie, I still think it's worth watching for just to get your own opinion about it and probably do some comparisons to the original. Even if you don't end up loving it as much as the original movie, I still think it's worth your watch. It's a very well made film. But yeah, those are my thoughts on The Color Purple. What did you guys think about it if you guys have seen it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? How does it compare to the original movie? Was this a good adaptation of the book? Was this a good adaptation of the Broadway show? Comment your thoughts down below and let me know. Well, that is all I have for you. That is my last review for 2023. I hope everyone has a good new year and hopefully have some really big things in store for 2024. We're going to continue to expand this channel. I'm going to cover as much movies and shows as possible and catch up on the stuff that I didn't get a chance to talk about in the previous year. So, yeah, can't wait for that. But if you guys enjoyed this review, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys for getting me to 500 subscribers. Let's get to 1,000. And don't forget to hit the bell if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. But that's all I have for you movie fans, and I will see you guys in the next year. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.